All right, hey guys, OFD checking in here, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of the coolest looking Timex watches out there so far that I've seen in quite a while. This is the Timex M79. Basically, this is the automatic version of the Timex Q that just came out within the last year or so. The Timex Q was a re-release of a quartz Timex watch from back in the 1970s, and they basically have redone that watch in a slightly larger case size, and they've put an automatic movement in it, which most of us watch guys are going to like. So kudos to Timex for really stepping up their game. They've really been doing that across the board in all of their watches. You look at the Marlin series, what they've done with that, with the hand winders first, then the automatics. They've brought them up in size. They've got the bigger size cases. And they've really moved across the line in all of their watches, adding automatic movements in their dive style watches. So much good stuff coming from Timex these days. Now, this newer model running the automatic movement is going to cost you $100 more. These are $279 over at the Timex website, which before you cough and say, oh my gosh, that's too much, let's kind of talk a little bit more about this watch. So the case size has been bumped up from the Timex Q from 38 millimeters to a 40 millimeter case. So that's going to probably please some of the people out there with maybe a little bigger wrist or want to watch with a little more wrist present. Still maintains a really nice size from what would say lug to lug or into the case to into the case of right around 47 millimeters. So that's nice. Maintains a usable size at 14 millimeters of thickness. Now that's an increase over the Q, of course, because you've got a automatic 21 joule automatic movement in here, so not so bad. And they've retained an 18 millimeter lug opening on the watch. Now, the other enhancements besides the automatic to this, and I think this is an enhancement, I don't think the Q had a unidirectional bezel like this. Now, this has a 120 click unidirectional bezel that works really, really good, to be honest with you guys. It's got really loud, action, and it locks in really well. It does seem that everything on it lines up good, which you guys can see there. Love the Batman look on the dial, of course. Really adds quite a bit to it. Taking a closer look up here at the dial, I'll bring it up here. You do have applied indices on this watch, which is really nice. They have a polished surround on those. The hands are polished on the outside with lume up the middle. Stick around to the end of the video and we'll get a lume shot. This watch actually has pretty doggone good lume. That Japanese 21 joule automatic movement has a day and a date function. You can see that over there at the 3 o'clock position. Nice little white outline there around that, keeping that separated. The automatic down there just above 6 o'clock, really nice addition, and Timex just below 12 o'clock. It really keeps the dial clean and simple looking. And again, loving that Batman color on the bezel. Really nice addition. The case is polished on top. You do have brushing along these flatter edges here and polishing along the side. Great retro style case design on this watch, as you guys can see. And the way these lugs at the end of the case actually dives down really makes it hug and fit the wrist well. Get it here on my wrist in a minute. You've got a signed crown, a Timex signed crown there, which is nice. Appears to be a PVD coating on the bezel on the underside, which is a nice contrast with the silver case. Taking a look and flipping it over. Now, they're not saying exactly what this is. They let you know that this is, the bracelet is China, movement Japan. So I'm not sure where the rest of the watch is made, but I'm sure not really going to be a problem with that. Timex on the rotor there, guys, 21 joule movement. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, this is going to be a Miyota movement. Just by looking at it, it's definitely a Miyota movement. You have the automatic there. You've got the screws, the 4 screws holding the case back down. 50 meters of water resistance with this. Nothing fancy, but I think it's neat that Timex stepped up to that display case back. And another reason it's that it's actually a Miyota movement is, here we go. You guys hear that rotor spinning? It'll spin all the way down. Yeah, it makes a lot of noise. So that's that typical Miyota rotor. Actually, a little bit of wobble on the wrist when you wear it like that, and it's moving. So let's go ahead and pause it, get this watch on my 7-inch wrist, and of course, stick around because we'll go out with that lume shot. All right, so here is the M79 on my 7-inch wrist. Now, if you weren't a fan of the 38 millimeter case, the thinner case on the Timex Q, I had a friend that bought one and he wasn't really fond of it. He felt it felt just too small on him. This might be a better option for you. It's a 40 millimeter case, a little bit thicker on the wrist at 14 millimeters. Definitely has a lot more heft to it, I feel, than the Timex Q did, and a very, very nice smooth, comfortable bracelet on this watch. I think these retro style bracelets, I absolutely love them. You know, a couple things I'd like to see with this watch. I would like to see that they, have a screw down crown and bump these up to 100 meters. That's really one of the things I'd like to see. 50 meters of water resistance is great, but, I'd like to see that 100 meters. I think it'd be a great addition to the lineup. And I'd also like to see some different colors available besides just the Batman. I think it'd be neat if they made all the colors of the Q available in this one, which I bet you that Timex in the future is going to do that. I did notice that they are going to have some new colors for the Timex Q this summer, and whether or not they carry those over to the M79 will be very interesting to check out. So let's go ahead and dim the lights, guys, and let's go out with a Lume shot. All right, guys, so while this does not have the Indiglow feature that you get on so many Timex watches, they did add some pretty good lume on this watch. Now, I'm not sure exactly what they're using. Probably some Swiss Super Luminova or something, but it's definitely going to work good for you guys on this watch. And I think for a Timex, this is pretty impressive lume. You're not going to use the watch for diving or anything like that, but if you go into a dark space and you want to know what time it is, I think the watch is going to get the job done for you guys. So $279 at the Timex website. If you opt for the quartz model in the original Q, you're coming at 38 millimeters and $179. So $100 more for a automatic movement, but it's a whole lot more watch, to be honest with you. So, all right, guys, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up down there at the bottom. Hey, thanks to Chris Marshall at Marshall Time for sending this watch out to the channel. And if you've not subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And if you've not subscribed to the Marshall Time channel, please do. Please do. Thanks, guys.